Hello everyone. In this session, we will discuss Part 4 of Chapter 2, that is biological classification. In this part, we will discuss general characteristics of protista and various types of protists, that is diatoms, dinoflagellates, 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝔼℉, slime moths, and their types and examples. This is Part 4, Chapter 2, biological classification. We have discussed by now in Part 3, that is kingdom Monera. In this part, we have to go for kingdom Protista. Children, you know, while dealing with three kingdom classification, I told you that is in kingdom Protista, all unicellular prokaryotes and monokaryotes, prokaryotes and eukaryotes have been kept together by Haeckel. Little later, by Copeland, that is all unicellular and prokaryotes, they have been shifted to kingdom Monera, and in kingdom Protista we have only that is unicellular, that is eukaryotes, irrespective to their mode of nutrition, that is they may be phototrophic, they may be saprophytic, that makes no difference. The only criteria that the member should be unicellular and prokaryotes, they have been included in kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista, as you had discussed earlier also, this is a connecting link between the prokaryotes and the other three, that is eukaryotic kingdom. If this is Monera here, then this is Protista, and these are the three multicellular kingdom. This one is Monera, this one is Protista. This is a link between unicellular prokaryotes and that is multicellular eukaryotes kingdom. Because from Protista, all these three kingdoms have been evolved, therefore Protistans are ancestors of all multicellular eukaryotes. Now some of the general character, because for the first time this eukaryotic cell have been formed. You know the meaning of eukaryotes, a well-defined nucleus is there. All cytoplasmic organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum and 80S ribosome are present here. The cytoplasm we can see one by one. Mostly of these are aquatic organisms, you have to see. Many protists are known as planktons. Cytoplasm contains membrane-bounded organelle, as I told you right now. That is, this may be mitochondria, that may be Golgi bodies, that may be endoplasmic reticulum, and so on. Cytoplasm shows steaming movement because in cytoplasm we have the two vacuoles, sep vacuoles are there, and the cytoplasm used to rotate around these vacuoles, that shows steaming movement. Movement, this is heterogeneous again. In this, some of the members they used to move by pseudopodia, other by flagella, cilia, or there are some of the members where there is no movement. Ciliary movement is the fastest one, you have to remember it. The mode of nutrition, it may be, that is variable mode of nutritions are there. It may be holophytic, this is photosynthetic. It may be parasitic. Some of the protists, they have mixotropic nutrition, that is they can do photosynthesis as well as saprobic mode of nutrition. Flagella is present, flagella and cilia. It is having 9+2 pattern, as in case of eukaryotic, you know that flagella may be there in bacteria, but here this 9+2 pattern we do not have, and it is made of a protein. The protein is, that is flagellin. Flagellin protein is there, while in case of eukaryotes, the cilia of flagella having 9+2 pattern, and it is made of microtubule organization, and the protein tubulin protein is there. Right? Reproduction occurs both by asexual and sexual methods. Sexual method is asexual method because this is unicellular one. The popular is, that is popular division is by binary fission, as in case of prokaryote also. But sexual reproduction, sexual method, for the first time it has been noticed. Sexual reproduction believed to have originated in most, that is primitive protist. It involves meiosis and syngamy definitely. You can remember, when this is true sexual reproduction, the gametes will be formed, the gametes will fuse through give, that is zygote, and the zygote will divide by meiosis. In that way, all the three steps are there in this. You see, Protist, this is heterogeneous group, and that is major objection of high kingdom classification. Protist includes photosynthetic forms, diatoms, dinoflagellate and euglenoid. These are green, they do photosynthesis. Consumer or decomposer protists, that is slime molds, they do not prepare food. These are heterotrophs, that's why known as fungi, protistian fungi. And protogen for protist, that is zooflagellate, sarcodines, sporozoans and ciliates. Right? Come to the first group, we have to discuss diatoms. That is chrysophytes. These are chrysophytes. These are found in fresh water as well as in marine water. Let this is fresh water lake, or let this is the sea here. These are found in both fresh water as well as in that is marine water. They used to float on surface of water. They do not have any that is organ for movement. The flagella-like structures is absent. These are microscopic. They float passively on surface of water, and by water current they used to move from one place to other because the flagella are absent. They used to float on surface of water because they have that is low weight. Low weight is because of that they have that is lipid compounds, oil-like compounds are there. The cell wall, interesting one. The cell wall has two overlapping shells which fit together like a soap box. This is the soap box. This is the upper one. This is the lower one. The cell wall is made up of two halves, and here inside this is the diatoms. So this upper one is known as epitheca, and the lower one is called as hypotheca. Interesting thing is that this cell wall, this is impregnated with, this is the part of the cell wall, it is having impregnation of silica particles, and when the diatoms die, that is, these will be deposited here at the floor of the sea, and in due course of time, that is, rock-like structures are formed. These rock-like structures are because of deposition of silica wall of diatoms. That is, this is known as, this is indestructible, this is gritty in nature, and this is known as diatomaceous earth. This diatomaceous earth that can be taken out and is used in different ways. These are different type of that diatoms you are seeing here. You see that this diatom that clearly visible, it is having the two halves. This is epitheca and hypotheca, different type of diatoms. These are microscopic and plenty of these used to float in water. That is, this diatomaceous earth being gritty, rough, this soil, that is, it is used for polishing. It will be taken out and will be used for polishing because this is rough. Filtration of oil and syrup. It is also used as insulator of refrigerator, and for making that is soundproof, that is bricks are to be made. Photosynthetic pigments, you have to remember chlorophyll A and C and carotene. The reserve food here is leucocene. That is, commonly they reproduce by binary fission because these are unicellular one. And sexual reproduction, it may be isogamous, oogamous. Isogamous means when both the gametes are similar. Oogamous means that the female gamete is not released and that male gamete will come and fuse with this. Isogamy to gamy. Anisogamy means that is male gamete is smaller and the female gamete is larger. This is one is isogamy, one is oogamy, and in between the two that is known as an isogamy. Meiosis is gametic. Gametic means that the main that is organism is haploid. Is it haploid or diploid? It will be diploid because diploid 2n is there. At the time of gamete formation, there will be meiosis, and that meiosis will be known as that is gametic meiosis. Diatoms are chief producer. Very interesting point. More than 50% of CO2 fixation is done by that is diatoms. You see, very important, interesting point. Now the next group here is dinoflagellates. As the name indicate, that is, these are flagellate. They have the flagella with the help of which they can move. These are different type of dinoflagellate. You are seeing that the flagella are there. With the help of these flagella, they can move. Organism mostly marine and photosynthetic. The different colors yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending upon the main pigment present in their shell. Some of the dinoflagellate, the important one is that is 𝕍𝕆𝔼𝔼 always, and also that is 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝔻𝔼. In sea, they used to grow at such a fast rate, binary fission. You know, binary fission, the number used to increase geometrically from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8 and 16, 32 like this. Therefore, the large number is produced in sea, which makes the water look, that is red tide. That is known as red tide. Red tide is because of 𝕍𝕆𝔼𝔼 and 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝔻𝔼, that is because of dinoflagellate. Can you recall? One term was that is Red Sea. Red Sea was because of blue-green algae, that is trichodesmium. Important question these are. That is Red Sea and red tide. The cell is covered by rigid coat, the theca, lorica, and the cell wall is made up of, that is plate, and these plates are of cellulose and pectin. You see one interesting point we have here. You can see this, that here this is the upper half, this one is the lower half. If I can make it diagrammatically, that this is the dinoflagellate. So here it is having, that is one transverse groove and one that is longitudinal groove. One flagella come out from the transverse groove and one flagella come out from the longitudinal groove. That's why the two flagella are there, and both these flagella are, that is heterocont. This flagella, that one is a smooth one, while the flagella which comes out from this transverse groove, it is having, that is rough structure. It is known as, that is tinsel flagella. The two flagella are at right angle. That is, one flagella is this, the other one is this, and they used to rotate. That is, dinoflagellate demonstrate peculiar spinning movement, or known as whirling movement. They used to, because the two flagella are at 90 degree. So these are the different, that is dinoflagellates. They used to rotate at, that is just like spinning movement. Therefore, dinoflagellate are known as whirling whips. The stored food is in the form of starch, and that's why they provide food to the, that is marine forms. Photosynthetic pigment as usual, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C, carotene and xanthophyll. Some marine dinoflagellates, interesting point, they have concentration of the phosphorus. That's why they show bioluminescence. They used to glow in night. For example, 𝕍𝕆𝔼𝔼 and 𝕆𝕆𝕍𝕆𝔼. Some dinoflagellates, just like 𝕍𝕆𝔼, important one, that is this 𝕍𝕆𝔼, they will be eaten by shellfish. Shellfish is not fish. Shellfish is a mollusk that will be eaten by this. And this 𝕍𝕆𝔼, that 𝕍𝕆𝔼, it secretes poison. This poison is not harmful to invertebrate, but when this shellfish will be taken by, that is human, it will be consumed by human, that this poison will be harmful to the vertebrates, and that causes what? That causes, that is 𝑠exitoxin is secreted, the poison, and this 𝑠exitoxin that will cause, that is paralytic, that is cell poisoning. It will causes paralysis. Reproduction, that is asexual is common. Sexual reproduction is isogamous to anisogamous. Is it right? Come to the next now. Very interesting one. That is euglenoid. These are known as sleeper, just like, that is, the shape is like, that is, these are known as sleeper molecules or sleeper, or that is organism. That one of the euglenoid, very popular one is, that is euglena. Majority of the euglena or euglenoids, these are freshwater, important point, freshwater organism, and these are found in stagnant water. No doubt that some of the euglenoids, these are found somewhere else also. Instead of cell wall, interesting point, that instead of cell wall, you know, all photosynthetic protists, they have cell wall, but here the cell wall is absent. Instead of cell wall, a protein-rich layer, pellicle, is present. You see, if I can draw, let this is the, that is euglena we have. This is the, that is anterior end. At the anterior end, the flagella will come out, and the body is covered with this flagella. This flagella is contractile one, with the help of which it can, that it contract its body. And
this pellicle, this is flexible and it provides strength to the body. They are photosynthetic in presence of sunlight, but when deprived of sunlight, they behave just like heterotrophs. Sometimes some of the euglenoids, they can catch that is small organism, predator these are. Sometimes they will become saprophytic also. And that's why the nutrition of euglenoid is mixotropic. Very, very important point. Mixotropic, sometimes these are photosynthetic and sometimes these are, that is, behave just like heterotrophs. The euglenoids, they have two flagella, but you can see here only one flagella is visible to us. The second flagella that will remain hidden, that is inside. That is, one is short, which is inside. The long one is, that is outside. Creeping movement of the body is known as metabolism. Therefore, the euglena used to move by either by, that is flagella, or with the help of, that is this metabolism, that is by with the help of this flexible pellicle they can move. One more thing you can see, children, here, that is it is having at anterior end. This anterior end, this is having, that is the mouth-like structure, and from where this flagella will come, the posterior end little bit pointed one, that is stigma is there. Stigma, this is photoreceptor, it can receive the stimulus of life. These are the contractile vacuole near to this, and these are the other things, that is the stored food is there, that is the nucleus is there, and the chloroplasts are there because it has to do photosynthesis. Stigma, the same thing I told you right on in diagram also, in figure also. Stigma, or also called as eye spot, it is photosensitive. It contains a red-orange pigment known as astaxanthin, and the stigma, these are found in, that is in euglena. Photosynthetic pigments present, that is chlorophyll, very important one. Chlorophyll pigment, this is similar to higher plants. Chlorophyll B, you know, chlorophyll B was present in blue-green algae also, and it is present here in, that is euglena also. Reserve food is 𝕆𝕋 starch. Under favorable condition, they may reproduce by longitudinal fission. You see, if this is the hydra here like this, that is hydra that will divide longitudinally in two, and each part that is able to develop into new organism. Sexual reproduction has not been reported yet. That's why sexual reproduction is absent. And the important euglenoids, one, the most popular one, on behalf of which it is called euglenoids, one is euglena and the other is, that is 𝕆𝕋. Okay, come to the next now. Yes, this one is, that is slime mold, consumer decomposer protist. This is slime mold. It's like this. It doesn't have, that is cell wall. These are just like amoeba. These usually free living, can be found creeping all over the debris. You can see here, like this is the forest, like this. This is the forest we have here. Okay, and on the forest floor, that is, this is the decomposed, that is organic matter. The slime mold, that is, these are found here on the forest floor, and they used to creep here and there. They engulf this, that is organic matter. Sometimes their size will become very large. Sometimes you see they, that is all these unicellular organisms these are, but sometimes they used to make a sort of colony like this, and that colony is known as plasmodium. Come to the point. They have naked protoplast, not covered by any cell in vegetative stage. Very interesting point. Here in vegetative phase they do not have cell wall, but you have to see when they have to do reproduction, that is spore will have cell wall. Spore will have, that is cell wall is present in spore. Have you seen any such organism? No. Slime mold at one stage, that in vegetative stage, it doesn't have cell wall, while the cell wall is present in spore. Very typical, that is point this one is. Under favorable condition, that is they used to come together, aggregation is there, and that is known as plasmodium. Remember, one plasmodium starts with letter capital P, plasmodium. This important question. Plasmodium, that is a genus. This genus causes, that is malaria, Plasmodium vivax. and that is a protozoon. This is with a small letter. Plasmodium is a term which may grow, spread over several feet. They used to grow on forest floor. Is it? Spores have cellulosic cell wall, I told you, which is absent in, that is, vegetative phase, while reproductive phase resemble to plants. This because reproductive phase, as it has cell wall, it resembles to the plant, and vegetative phase, as it doesn't have cell wall, it resembles to, that is, animals. Spores are extremely resistant. They survive for many more years. The spores are dispersed by air current. Very important point. It is said that this is soil, this is forest floor, and the water is there. The spores produced here may be dispersed by water. No, because these slime molds, they will produce the fruiting body, and these fruiting body are aerial. These are called fruiting bodies, just like fungi, and in this fruiting body the spores are there. Can you remember and recall that the spores, these are produced in fruiting body and these are dispersed by air? Again, important question. I may repeat, this is the only one. At one stage, vegetative cell wall is absent and spore is having cell wall. The plasmodium is there, it's not this plasmodium. The spores are resistant. They can survive for many more years, and the spores are dispersed with air current. The reproduction, both sexual and asexual reproduction are present. You see here, and right, and slime molds, it is a connecting link between plant, animals and fungi. Sexual reproduction, the detail is not there in your course. NCERT has not given anything about sexual reproduction. That's why it is of no use to discuss it here. But you have to remember, both sexual and asexual reproduction are found. See, how can we say that this is a link between animal and fungi? Can you say? That is, you see here, that is plant-like because it has cell wall in spore. Animal-like, it doesn't have cell wall in, that is vegetative phase, and fungi-like because it produced fruiting bodies. Fruiting bodies are produced there in fungi. That's why presence of fruiting bodies where the spores will be formed, that is similar to fungi. Come to the next now, that this is protozoon protist. You must be remembering, I can recall you, in two kingdom classification, children, that is, one was that is animal kingdom, and the first phylum of animal kingdom, that was phylum Protozoa, where the animal organism which can move like amoeba have been kept because they were not having cell wall. That's why they have been classified in two kingdom classification by Linnaeus in animal. But now you know in five kingdom classification, because this is unicellular eukaryotic form that has been placed with, that is kingdom Protista. That's why now these are known as protozoon protist. These are unicellular as usual. Heterotrophs, these are nutrition, and these are primitive relatives of animals. From this, the other phylum of the animals, they have been evolved. These protozoon protists we can classify in four groups. One is amoeboid, one is flagellated, one is ciliated, one is sporozoon. As the name indicates, amoeboid means they have this amoeba-like structure. The 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝕑 is there. These are, you can see here, these are fresh water, are also found in seawater or in moist soil also. Mostly free these are. There may be few are parasite. The amoeba is free-living one, while the entamoeba, it causes dysentery. This is parasite. Locomotory structure is 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝑑. They used to make new and new 𝕍𝕀𝔻𝑑. They used to make and they used to withdraw, with the help of which they used to move. Special feature, silica cell is present in some forms. Silica shell, you have to remember it. Example, entamoeba and amoeba and so many others also. Flagellated forms, as the name indicates, the movement, that is locomotion, is by flagella. Flagella is there. Definitely flagella will be 9 plus 2 and will be made of, that is protein, that is tubulin protein. Free living, or they may be parasite. Sexual reproduction is rare and they have diverse type of, that is association. They may be commensals, they may be symbiotic like this. Parasite, very important one, trypanosoma, we have to underline it. Sleeping sickness. This is the diagram of trypanosoma. It causes sleeping sickness in human. The other one is ciliated protozoons, fresh water, maybe marine one, If you are parasite, no need to go in much more detail. That is one typical example of this we have, that is Paramecium. It has cilia. The cilia, these are numerous and these are shorter in length as compared to flagella. They have a definite region of ingestion. This is the region that is through which the water current will enter, and in water current the food particle will also enter. That's why it is having a mouth-like structure for ingestion of food, for taking of food. It is known as gullet, and for ingestion also, that is a particular, that is site is there. Paramecium to be underlined. Sporozoon, important thing, all that is protozoan produced to this group, these are endoparasite. They cause disease. Any locomotory organ is absent, they do not move. Infectious stage is present. For example, this is Plasmodium malaria parasite, that is from mosquito, an infectious stage will enter into the human being. Is it? So you see, children, that was part 4th, lesson 2, that is biological classification of unit 1. We have to finish this chapter. Thank you so much.